Welcome to the third installment of the SmackDown between super angels and early stage VCs, SmackDown of the Davids. Today, our topic is, do super angels really want to build big companies? Now, we've talked a lot in previous segments about the degree to which you mentor, what your roles are, how engaged you are. But, you know, this section to me boils down to, are you funding and building a feature, or are you trying to develop a company? Are you all about the flip? Because at some point, you still need the big companies to buy the flips.
About the flip.
Had no one
Embrace
done Google or Facebook, no one would be buying them.
Greed is good. Greed is right.
But it's short-term greed, because down the line you need
Gordon
people
Gekko
to buy.
for Silicon Valley right now. Flipping is good. It's okay to build a $50 to $150 million company. There is nothing wrong with that.
How is that sustainable for the Valley ecosystem?
How is that sustainable in the
time?
Valley? Actually, that is quite sustainable. What's not sustainable in the Valley is assuming that billion-dollar companies in consumer internet are going to come out at enough pace on every year to sustain the large VC. What's happening is companies like Mint are probably the top end of the range at 170 million. Flickr, Delicious, that are probably in the $25 to $100 million range are more the median, and a lot of smaller acquisitions at $10 to $20 million are going to happen a lot. So that's
there were a lot of folks involved in Mint who said, you know what, this is a big business, right? This is a legitimate competitor for Intuit. Intuit's a big, interesting business.
Sure.
This is Intuit 2.0. Let's build something big and challenging, whatever.
And Intuit chose to buy it.
Yeah, well, and they chose to sell it, right? It could have been another,
Google,
other interesting opportunity to build a big company, right?
Could have been, but it was big enough for the entrepreneur and big enough for the acquirer.
What if Google had sold to Yahoo early on? What if they
Mint is the perfect example.
No, what if they had taken your advice and sold to Yahoo early on for a couple million? Who would be buying all your portfolio companies?
We're talking about YouTube?
Google.
No,
Google. If they had sold to Yahoo back in the early days.
Would have been a great deal for Yahoo.
Yeah, great, but who would be the public company buying
Jerry
up
would
all
be
your
such a
startups?
smart guy. What?
Who would be the public company buying up all your startups today? That's why I don't think it's
Hopefully
sustainable.
So actually, this is an interesting point. I think what you're going to see happen over the next 5 years is non-technology companies are going to start buying consumer internet companies. Because what's happening is all these public companies that are consumer-facing, their consumers, their customers, are moving online. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're certainly on email, they're on Google, right? But they don't want to go spend $500 million to $1 billion. What they want is a small market acquisition for $25 to $250 million that's balance sheet neutral, gets them some revenue in a category, gets them some Web 2.0 savvy.
Is that the business you're in? Is that the business you're in?
They're creative in some ways. They're creative in some cases.
Sand Hill Road historically has been about changing the world. And I think that's a great business. I want to be in the business of, when we talk to our investors, we say, look, you're buying futures in technology, right? We're going to change the universe, and we're going to bet on companies that build monumental businesses. Now,
it's a great thing.
And that's great, right? Now, I'm all for it.
It doesn't happen that often, but it's a great thing. It
doesn't, but frankly, the really successful venture investors have always been about finding those great investments and funding them.
Historically, that's true.
You're saying it's no longer a home-run business.
For some people, it's a home-run business. But I think Josh Koppelman's a pretty happy camper right now, betting on companies that occasionally exit at 50 to 150 million.
So I don't, Josh is a great guy. I think he's made incredibly smart investments. I don't question that for a second. And in fact, this is allegedly a SmackDown, but other than Dave basically calling me a dead, like a dinosaur.
I'm not calling you a dinosaur. Just other people that look like you are dead dinosaurs.
All of my other orange guys. Yeah, right. Do they look like me?
The people on the left, really? The people on the left and the right of you on Sand Hill Road, those guys are dinosaurs.
Everyone but you.
But you're great.
All right.
Back to Josh Koppelman.
No,
great guy, but
he's a great guy. Well, so here's the thing.
How about Chris Dixon?
Dixon and Koppelman and you and Clavier, all of you are going to have a set of investments you make, right? But you're going to make 40 of them. You're going to make 50 of them. And the question sort of is, a lot of that is premised on the idea that there are going to be lots of these small acquisitions, right? And that may or may not prove true. So far, it hasn't really proven true. There have been some early acquisitions.
Iden's got 15 exits out of a portfolio of 60 or 70. Pretty good ratio.
Yeah, I don't want to, Iden's a great guy. I'm not questioning his portfolio. I don't know what those 15 outcomes were. I could have 15 outcomes today and they wouldn't be a good outcome, and they wouldn't be a good portfolio, right? They're just outcomes, right?
You're not going to have 15 outcomes. You only make 30 bets.
Well, I could, right? But the bigger point is that, chasing, so ultimately the things that will be really exciting and valuable for you and Josh Kaufman or whatever will be the ones that I get excited about and say, great, let's put money in and build a big business.
Maybe, but I mean, you're playing the Yankees game and the Yankees win a lot of championships. I'm playing the Oakland A's game. I'm playing Moneyball for startups. And on a much smaller payroll, Billy Beanes made it work.
You know what? I've been an Oakland A's season ticket holder for about 10 years.
He's
I don't know if you haven't seen the last couple seasons.
He's got to move the team.
We're not making it work in a post-Big Three.
He's got to move the team to San Jose.
Yeah.
He's got to move the team to San Jose.
Guess what? They had Big Three. That probably would be the equivalent of Twitter, Facebook,
but if you
and
look
LinkedIn.
on the pay for like output on a much smaller salary, the Oakland A's have consistently performed in at least being competitive and occasionally getting into the playoffs on a salary structure that's 1/5 of the rest of like big players.
Here's the problem. Isn't the threat of these companies becoming independent companies a lot of what drives acquisition prices up? What bothers me about this debate is people will say historically most venture returns have come from acquisitions, and that's true, but frequently they're outpriced acquisitions because that could become a competitor and someone needs to take a competitor out of the market.
Here's the thing.
If you're aiming for an acquisition, all you get is an acquisition.
No, I disagree with that.
Or less.
And the point that I want to make is it's great to be creating change in the world, and it's great to have big blockbuster companies. However, that's an outcome that is aligned with the investor. It's not really an outcome that's aligned with the acquirer, or in many cases, the entrepreneur. When fuck you money in the Valley is $10 million, if you own 20% of the company, $50 million exits are fuck you money. So anything more than that is basically
makes a good
bragging
point. Is this
rights.
just a new world
So
of the
if
web
you're
where
more
people can cash
small
out?
market
They want to
exits-
cash out?
Wait a second. Small market exits are aligned with the entrepreneur's interest, and they are aligned with the acquirer's interest. And there's many more of them happening in the market than large market outcomes. So I actually, again, feel like I've got an easier job. I've got a more fun job. I'm on the entrepreneur's side. I'm on the acquirer's side.
So I think the reality is that there are entrepreneurs who are in the game to build something big and interesting, right? And
great.
so, great, you know what? Okay, they could exit early, but the folks like Mark Zuckerberg and Mark Pincus and folks building big companies, the Google guys, they didn't exit early because they wanted to build something. They wanted to have control. They wanted to build big, interesting things. Now, I'm not saying everything that I invest in is going to turn out to be some giant company, but I want to back entrepreneurs who are excited to build something and make a difference. And that the goal is this big prize at the end, right? And so I'm thrilled that you're investing in a ton of stuff because at the end of the day, some of those people will say, some of those people say, you know what, we want to take this to the next level, and I'll say that's fantastic. Here's $10 million.
And I think that's where we're aligned in like stuff that comes out of my portfolio that does progress to big things that you guys want to invest in. There's also stuff that's going to come out of my portfolio where they don't necessarily need $25 million in capital to have a big outcome, and it's still a great outcome for the entrepreneur, for me as a small investor, and for the acquirer.
Okay, I want to get to the last question. You've written before on your blog that basically none of you guys have any idea what's going to hit, so you should place a lot of bets, you should support it, you should double down later on. You've made an analogy to being a blackjack player. Are you just playing the portfolio percentages?
A blackjack player who's counting cards.
But are you just basically playing the portfolio percentages?
No.
You don't know anything? You're just throwing stuff out there?
No, I mean, I think I have an informed advantage in the market. I mean, I think because I understand product, because I understand market, because I've done those roles before, I know which companies look like they have their shit together and which ones don't. And so I have a little bit of advantage on the house in that, okay, I'm counting, and this hand has more kings and tens and queens. This one doesn't. So, no, I don't.
Look, you know what? My brother was on the MIT blackjack team.
Yep.
You get to 51% by counting. He spends a lot of weekends in Vegas losing money
I think
to win money over the long run.
So it's got to be a quantitative game. But I do think I have better than 51% information. There's a lot of early stats and data about like whether people have their act together that, again, I think most VCs don't understand how to assess that stuff.
All right, we got to wrap up. David, final word. Are you just gambling at a table, or do you know?
No, I mean, I think that this is why early stage venture investors want money to be put to work so that we can get some information, right? That early investment is about gaining information about the team, about the market, about all that. So
Completely agree.
Again, I think that that's what we're looking for, and that's how we get excited about these early companies.
But you guys agreeing, you're both yelling. All right, we're going to wrap up. Join us tomorrow when the topic is, I got to start looking at these before I get to this point, is the Valley's investing heyday over?